I'm a buy and hold. I'm a landlord. I have long-term and midterm rentals. That's it.
My name is Narinda Kelly, and of course, I work with him. I am a full-time teacher. I teach personal economics and finance. I also teach travel and tourism and hospitality. So, as he said, we have short, midterm rentals, and we have long-term or traditional rentals that we manage.
Hi, I'm Filip Popa. I do real estate investment full-time, mostly fix and flips. I have 3 midterm rentals and some long-term, but I consider myself still a fix and flip investor at this point.
Hey everybody, my name's Chris Lloyd. I am an associate broker over at Turnkey Real Estate. I'm also a certified real estate auctioneer. And then in the evenings when I have time, I invest in real estate. I've got a midterm rental active now, another one coming up here soon, and hopefully 2 more as a result of an offer made yesterday. So we'll see what happens with that. I house hack to get most of my deals, and so I also do room rentals.
What is a midterm rental? Can you explain that?
So a midterm rental is considered 30 days or more, 30 days or more. Anything 30 days or more, but generally it is also a furnished rental.
So it's like a short-term rental, only
Only
more than 30 days. Because if you're under the 30 days, you get caught up in the short-term rental rules
Right.
and regulations that everybody's been fighting, and the cities have been shutting down,
Right.
and they're making it hard and confusing for you.
Right.
So you hit them a little more than 30 days, and you're out of that.
Right.
Out of that box.
It is, so it's not really in the Airbnb, although you can use it as a platform to market your property. So if you ask a realtor, which one of my friends says, she says, basically you're just doing a month-to-month lease or a month-to-month rental without a lease. So that's pretty much what it is. It's a month-to-month rental without a lease, or with a lease, depending on what platform you're using.
Just a comment, technically, anything 30 days or less is a short-term rental. So if you are renting for 30-day increments, you have to follow, if you're in the city of Hampton or wherever you are, you have to follow all the city and all the state rules that go along with that. Once you go to 31, now you're no longer a short-term rental.
Okay, as a landlord that does a lot of month-to-month rentals, which I consider long-term, what differentiates a midterm rental when you said, well, without leases? Do you not fall under the same,
It can be with or without.
with or without, but do you not fall into the same thing where you lease a property furnished and if you have someone that won't leave, won't pay, are you under eviction, or is it done contractually where it's like Airbnb but longer?
I mean, if you're on a lease, it's just, I mean, everything is the same. You still have to go through the same eviction process once it's over 30 days, once 31 days and above. So everything's the same as a long-term eviction process. Sorry.
So, why would you go to the trouble to turn a house 4 or 5 times a year, put furniture in it? I mean, I know you're getting probably a little bit more because you got the furniture in it, but are you really getting that much more?
It all depends on who you are. Usually, the rule of thumb is usually you're getting 30% or more. If you're going under 30%, I'm going long term. I'm not doing all that extra work. I mean, it's not even a lot of extra work. I've had one tenant. She leaves next month. She'll be in my property. She's been in my property for 5 months now. I got a current tenant right now. He'll be there for 4 months, and then he's going to probably sign up till he get out of college in May. So he'll be there from August till May. So, yeah. But it all depends. But yeah, it's 30%, 30 to. I can rent my property long term. My two, because I have a duplex, 1 bed, 1 bath upstairs, 1 bed, 1 bath downstairs. I can rent it probably for $1,000, maybe $1,100. But right now I'm renting it at $1,950, and then the other one is $1,595. That's because I just never took her rate up.
So you're getting almost double rent, but by the time you pull your expenses out,
I pull my
it's
expenses out.
30% more?
Oh, it's more than that.
Okay.
In mine. It's like my expenses are like $200, $225. So I get about 900 more, 800, 900 more. I take out 200 in expenses, so that's 600 extra left for me.
Okay. Does that work
extra.
for you guys pretty much?
I think the biggest expense is furnishing it up front, but other than that, you pretty much get way more every month. And on a case-to-case basis, sometimes I had a nurse who came in on a contract. She had the deposit in place, and she had to leave. So she told me up front, "Hey, I'll leave the deposit," and she left. So sometimes you can worry about, hey, what if they don't pay? But in other situations, they leave early and they don't have a problem with leaving everything in place. And in my case, I like the most the fact that I get somebody to clean it after every guest, obviously. So I don't have to worry about that, and there's no situation where, hey, somebody stayed for 2 or 3 years and everything is dirty and nasty and trashed. So I see all the disadvantages of dealing with more than one tenant a year, but there's a lot of advantages too, obviously.
Yeah, and to piggyback off of that, that's one of my favorite parts about doing the midterm rentals is I've had 4 tenants since I've started midterm rental, and every single time that they have left, the property has been as clean or cleaner than we gave it to them. So I really feel like the general clientele that you're getting when you're doing a midterm rental is going to upkeep the property to a much higher level and deliver it back to you at that higher level as well, which is what I love.
Question for you. When you guys are evaluating an opportunity for midterm rentals, what kind of vacancy rules or like assumptions do you guys make when you're looking at potential deals?
First. You wanna go first?
Well, I have a 1 bed, 1 bath, both units. So I'm not going to really have that much vacancy. I can drop my price and still make money. So it really doesn't affect me that much. I have a little vacancy, but not that much. I also have a 2-bedroom, 1 bath. It is a furnished rental. So it's almost like a hybrid, really, because I'm not getting the top of the line with the rates of midterm, because I could get like about $2,500 for it, but I get $2,150. But if I did a regular rental, I would only be able to get about $1,400. But she's been in my property, so it's really just a furnished rental, because she's been in my property for a year and 3 months.
And she renewed to stay another year.
Yeah. So instead of me, so I have no vacancy, but I still get those midterm rates. I got lucky on that one.
Three-part question. Who, and for all of you, who is your standard clientele? So I know traveling nurses, sometimes these are called academic rentals as well. That's question 1. Question 2 is, how do you advertise these?
Can you let us do one question at a time, and we'll answer it, because we're gonna forget them.
Well, I'll forget them if I don't get them out, and then we'll come back to it.
Okay.
How do you advertise it?
Okay.
And then how do you qualify it? Or is advertising different than for your long-term rentals, and how do you qualify tenants? So who's the clientele? How do you advertise? How do you qualify?
I guess it's different for each of us. Yes. Okay. So for us, our clientele, I don't know how this thing talks. I think I talk loud enough. Can y'all hear me? Yeah. Okay. Because I don't think I need this thing. Yeah, I'll use my teacher voice. So for us, our clientele has been surprisingly unique and different. We've had everybody from patients at Proton Therapy Institute. We have a current college student, and we've had traveling nurses, and we've also had a contractor come and stay. So it has varied, because it's only one person looking to stay somewhere while they work.
And we've only had 2 travel nurses.
Yeah.
So it's for a 1 bedroom, 1 bath. It's whoever's coming in that area looking for a property. Now, when you get 2 and 3 bedrooms,
Yeah.
It's different. I'll let them
Right.
talk on that.
Right, and we've also had, somebody that was moving a house and was in transition, so that was
Oh,
our
yeah,
other
yeah, I
person.
forgot about them.
He was 1 month. And so that was that part. You want to speak to that part? We gonna get that part.
On the same question I had about the same thing, nurses, military, people moving and needing a place, insurance claims. On the second question with where to advertise it, it's Airbnb 31 day plus. So the minimum they can book is 31 days. And Furnish Finder. Furnish Finder is another website. You pay $150 a year to list it. And then you get direct inquiries, you get their phone number, they get yours, so you literally deal with the tenant directly. And the way to scan them to pretty much do background checks and stuff like that, if it's a nurse coming into the area, I just ask them for the job offer, and as long as they pay the deposit, they usually do it at least 3 months in advance from the moment they have to come in town. And once they pay me the first month and the deposit 3 months in advance, I pretty much know they're not gonna come around 3 months later to play games.
For the tenants that I've had 2 travel nurses, 1 insurance claim, and 1 NASA intern. So those are the ones that I got them from. In terms of advertising, I've only done Furnish Finder up until about a week and a half ago. Just got up in Airbnb. And through Furnish Finder, the way that we qualify them, they submit a question about the property, or they click the apply button, and then it goes to my property manager. And my property manager screens them just as if they were screening a regular tenant. That's what we do. But on the income side of thing, we want to see, the offer or some form of income to justify why they're here for a temporary stay.
And we get most of ours from Airbnb, which I prefer because it's a lot easier. You ask the questions, but also with Airbnb, you have the brand recognition. So a lot of people, when they say something, just like when somebody says refer to a short-term rental, they refer to it as Airbnb. So I love the brand recognition from there. I get most of my people from there. I get very few people from. I think I have 2 tenants from Furnish Finder. I also advertise on Zillow as well, but I don't really have anybody come through there, but it's still a possibility. And also with Airbnb, you also have their insurance. I think it's like $1 or $3 million insurance, so that's free insurance. And then I don't have to collect the money, so it's a lot less on me. And then they have to be on the P's and Q's. With Furnish Finder, I make sure I go back and look and see their reviews, see how they are, see how the other tenants, the other landlords rated them and stuff like that. So yeah.
And then the same with asking for the contract if they're coming in for work.
What about all the overhead Airbnb charges?
Not much.
They charge me 3%. They charge them whatever, they paying that, so I'll just pay. They charge me 3% for using the platform. But as long as they keep my properties filled, they can take whatever. They can take 3%. So yeah, I can build it in, but it's 3%. I much rather have you pay 3% on my property and have it rented instead of not having it rented and
Have vacancy.
have vacancy.
Okay, so for all the for somebody who's not educated in this at all, if you were to do like a Furnish Finder or whatever, so are you paying for all their cable, electricity, association, et cetera, et
It's
cetera?
just like a hotel. When you come in here, everything's taken care of. Otherwise, they can go to a hotel. So all that stuff is taken care of. So you have to build those expenses in.
I think it used to be called a corporate lease, and it's pretty much the same thing. You don't necessarily have to do it month to month. You can do, let's say, 93 days at one time, a random number. And because they don't have to sign a 6 months, 12-month lease on a furnished property, and they don't have to worry about moving any utilities in their name or none of that, they can literally just walk in and everything is ready to go. They are willing to pay more. And in the nurses, in their situation, they usually pay at least $400 to $500 a week to stay in a weekly stay in a hotel. So they end up paying the same, or sometimes they can even pay less for a 1-bedroom rental on midterm than they would pay in a hotel on a weekly stay.
Whole house.
You have a whole house.
Yeah.
Instead of a question, I'd like to make a comment on a couple things that have been discussed. I've had a midterm rental for a number of years. So my perspective on some things for what it's worth. FurnishedFinder.com, I think, is an excellent source for finding people. That's pretty much where all of my people have come from. What I like about them over Airbnb is Furnished Finder makes a connection between the two of you, and then you have your own application, your own rental agreement, your own screening processes, whatever you want. In the past, several years ago, with Airbnb, I had somebody come in and started moving in all of their worldly possessions, and I had no idea who they were. It's like anybody with a credit card can rent it, and anybody else can move in. So just be careful of that. Make sure they're really a temporary person if you want them to be temporary. I've had NASA intern, medical people, somebody who was working with a contractor for the shipyard. He didn't know how long he was going to be here till the contract was done. It ended up being 9 months. So a variety of people, but they all found me through Furnished Finder. And I also wanted to say that if you're considering getting into this, use the statistics that Furnished Finder provides. They have all sorts of statistics on their website. And one word of caution, I discovered that in Hampton, if you have a rental that's something like 91 or 92 days or less, then you're subject to extra taxes and regulations and all that kind of stuff. So they're also targeting the midterm people, not just the 30 days and less. So be sure that you do your research on what locality you're in. The 2 midterms I'm getting ready to open soon are in James City County, and they don't care. So just do your research.
I had 2 questions. So the first one is, what does your turnover look like? How much does that cost? Like in between moving tenants out, what are they doing and how much do you pay for that?
Well, for me, I do it myself. So I got a quote from a cleaning lady for $300 each. I didn't feel like taking that on, so I cleaned myself. So y'all might be able to answer that better.
I pay a cleaning lady $25 an hour, and she said I literally have had her tell me the prices of how much it's gonna cost me, and it's usually 4 to 6 hours on each unit. I don't know anybody who does it on big houses, like more than 3 bedrooms, and I don't think it's really worth it a lot more than the long-term rental on bigger units. So it's usually 1-bedroom units that a single person would travel and need. So it doesn't really take a lot of time to clean it, because obviously the tenant is gonna pay a cleaning fee. So they pay the cleaning fee one time, I pass that over to the cleaning lady, and then I pay maybe $50 in whatever supplies I need to restock.
And I was gonna say, for us, pretty much the same thing. We have someone that we come in to pay to clean, and the tenant that is coming there pays the cleaning fee. So we just pass that fee on. And then, like I say, again, whatever we need to restock, which you're not gonna be restocking bleach and all those things on a frequent basis, they're gonna last quite a long time. So it's really kind of low cost.
And then, sorry, 2 more. Do you require that the tenant carries personal insurance, like renters?
No. No, we don't.
Okay.
You guys?
Same.
No.
Okay, and
Why is that, Steve? Why is that?
I don't require it either, but in the lease, if they come from Furnished Finder, I tell them it's in bold, recommended for their protection if they want it. You can't legally force them to do it, and if you would, they would probably step away from it, because it's just more friction for them to deal with doing that, and sometimes they don't know how long they're gonna be in place and who's the local provider for that. So I tell them if they wanna have it, they can have it, but I don't force them to have it.
and
Kim has one more question.
and how do you guys get insurance claims separately from insurance companies, or is that you're doing that through Furnished Finders?
Just regular insurance.
Yeah, we have regular,
Claim.
regular insurance for rental property.
Just regular rental.
So if you're getting a tenant that had a problem at their house, they filed an insurance claim,
that would be-
where do you get those people from?
Furnished Finder. So in the case that we had the insurance claim, What had happened was their house had burned down. They filed a claim with their insurance, and for temporary housing, they were like, hey, this is your budget. Go out. They recommended Furnish Finder to the tenants. They found our property. They liked our property, and then they got in touch. They got our property manager in touch with the insurance company for all the financials.
To be honest, I don't necessarily like the situation when there's somebody that comes from an insurance claim, because usually I get some company that's like a middleman that would be hired by the insurance company to find housing for the person that has the issue, the claim. And I don't really know who moves in, and they don't really care about the property because they don't have a review. The company that's the middleman would be the one approaching me, hey, I have a family of 3 with 2 dogs, and I want this, that, and the other. And even if it would work out, which it doesn't really work out because I have small units, I had the experience once and it was fine, but I don't look forward to those situations because it's usually bigger families with pets, and that's not what I provide.
Okay, I have a question for you. Let's just say I'm just completely enthralled with everything that I've heard here. I drink the Kool-Aid, so I just want to get involved with this. Okay, so I'm thinking in the Hampton Roads area here, what makes a good midterm rental? So if I want to start investing and say, what do I go hunting for in terms of size and location? So I realize there's a spectrum of what you're all, or you know, what you're in your wheelhouse, but you know, I want to get involved. There's clearly some places that are not so great, but if I'm looking for a larger, where might it be? If I'm looking for a smaller, where might it be? And kind of what neighborhoods, what kind of areas make sense? I'll let the panel answer.
Size, location, and amenities.
Size, location, amenities. What should I look for?
Well, this is my criteria. If it's 3 bedrooms or above, I don't want it. I prefer 1 bathroom. They're traveling, so they don't necessarily care about having multiple bathrooms. They're either traveling themselves or possibly with one other partner. You can also acquire those properties cheaper because there's less competition on it. So I look for a 1 or 2 bed property, and usually about 1,000 square feet or less. That way I can get in. I clean myself, as I said earlier. I can get in, I can get out. I'm usually done cleaning in 2 hours. So mine are single family with ADU. So accessory dwelling unit is going to be the 1 bed, 1 bath, and then the single family is a 2 bed, 1 bath.
I have one that's the same exact situation, 2-1, 900 square feet, and an ADU that's 1-1, 600 square feet. And the 2-1 is about 2,100 a month, and the 1-1 is 1,800. Technically, it costed me a lot more to refinish the 2-1 and whatnot, and furnish it, and the utilities probably cost more, but it doesn't really make more money. And people don't necessarily need the second bedroom. It's always a single person traveling. I had somebody who stayed in, and the second bedroom, they never used it whatsoever.
Okay. And I would say likewise, 2-1, well, we do have one that's the townhouse is 2, 1.5, and the other one is 1-1 and 1-1, and they're about 600 square feet each for the 1-1. 550. That's about. So 550, and then the other one is somewhat larger, but it definitely makes sense for the traveling professional or even the student, because in the case of the student, we don't want large numbers of people there. It's 1 bedroom, 1 bath, 1 guest. Right. So it makes sense for us. But also location is definitely key. It needs to be accessible to interstates, I think, and it needs to be in a safe neighborhood, and it needs to look like a safe neighborhood, because people, that's the first question they ask us, is the neighborhood safe? Because you have a lot of women traveling by themselves. Actually, the student that we have, that was the first thing his parent asked, is this a safe neighborhood? So it needs to look and have the appearance of safety. It needs to be close to amenities like grocery stores, shopping, things like that they can go in and grab quick meals, restaurants and things like that. Close to the interstate. And then in proximity to the jobs what they're gonna have, like it's close to HU, it's close to Riverside, it's close to Centera, it's within a certain mile radius of, where they're gonna work, and they can get there easily. So yes, all of those things make sense.
And some of the amenities, wash and dryer, a very comfortable bed, so don't chintz out on the bed or the mattress. That's very, very important. Blackout curtains.
And then your basic kitchen supplies. I mean, can I make a cup of coffee in the morning? Do I have a microwave, a refrigerator, so I can have my beverages and whatever it is that I need on a daily basis? Do I have some plates, some forks, some spoons, whatever, if I want to cook something, a pot or pan? So you want to have the basics of home away from home, as far as amenities go. And a small amount of storage, because they do bring stuff.
Are we done with that question? Yeah. Okay, back over here. So I'm very curious about your marketing and just in the general area. So I'm an Airbnb superhost out of Seattle. So it's very different experience, like hearing what you guys are saying. I mean, I used Furnish Finder one time and it was the worst experience of my life. All of my friends doing short-term rentals and midterm rentals in Seattle really hated it because it's just, like for whatever reason in that market, it wasn't really great. Honestly, where I had got all my leads from were referrals because supply and demand was so out of whack. So it was referrals from nurses and traveling professionals and students, but also social media. And so I'm very curious, maybe supply and demand is still so great that you guys don't really need to branch out for marketing, but I'm curious, have you guys tapped into other things? Are there social media connections with like housing placement programs, anything like that that you guys have considered or learned about just in your networking in this space?
We can do all that, but you're going to get so much from the major platforms. I don't know about Verbo. I've never used Verbo. Verbo is another good one, I'm assuming, but Airbnb is my mainstay.
So you just haven't had to?
I haven't had to, so it all depends.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
Same situation. I never really had anything. And the thing is, I think Andrew was trying to ask earlier what about the vacancy. I don't really have any vacancy between. It's almost crazy to think that somebody moves out 3 months later and somebody else will move in literally 2 or 3 days after the first one move out. I barely have time to send a cleaner over and send the supplies, and that's it. It doesn't stay empty for a week or anything like that. And so far I have way more inquiries than I have people. Like literally in the last week I probably had 3 or 4 people asking me, hey, can we move in and this and that. And if it's more than probably 10 days from one people leaving, the other one trying to come in, I tell them, hey, I'm sorry, but I'm not gonna keep it vacant for 2 weeks. And I don't have a problem finding somebody else.
Okay, I just have a follow-on question. If Airbnb is so great, and sometimes I'm up late nights to hear the infomercials about the gurus saying, hey, you can lease a property at long-term rates, and the market is so good on short-term and midterm that you can make money in the arbitrage in between. Have you all considered doing any of that? If not, why not?
I have. I decided not to because it made more sense for me to buy it sub 2. So that's the only time I've looked into arbitrage.
I haven't looked into that. I understand exactly what you're saying, but I think it's unpredictable towards the landlord, where I would rent something out a year later, they would want probably to raise the rents, and I would already have commitments for people coming in, so I would have to accept whatever the landlord would say, so I don't really want to depend on somebody else saying, hey, you can rent it now for $1,000, and next year they say, now it's $1,300 and I'm charging $18, and it's not gonna make sense anymore.
And we don't do it either. It's like, we haven't even considered it, so.
Hey, Steve, a minute ago you were talking about amenities, and you had sent me earlier, you sent me a video that you guys had done on one of your properties. I got it up here if you think it's a good time to show it. It might help. It might help to show somebody what, how you've got your midterm set up and those amenities and the things that you were talking about.
Sounds good. It's a 1 bed, 1 bath.
This is your 1 bed, 1 bath. Keep the mic because you're going to be talking through this. I think there's. We're going to see if we can't get it started here. All right. So there we go.
Oh, there you go.
I don't know if we can dim. Yeah, there we go. Work the lights. There you go. Good job, guys. All right. Sorry.
Don't need it right now. Don't need it.
Yes, sir.
Was that Trump jumped up there?
Square feet, is that unit?
550. Victoria Boulevard in Hampton. Yeah, in Hampton, in central Hampton. Close to downtown Hampton. It's pretty simple. We like to add a little color to our units. We don't want to be just in the middle. We just want to add a little color. Give them all the amenities that they want. As soon as people book my property, I send them the video. Therefore, when they walk in here, they know exactly what they're getting, and it makes it a lot easier. Then it's like, you can see pictures, but you see the pictures, and then I send you the video, then you already know exactly what you're walking into. You know where everything is placed. You know the TVs are there, everything.
Any idea, maybe a percentage of what it costs to outfit from scratch? Percentage of the monthly rent or something like that?
How much? It does
Yeah, basically,
to
is there a
furnish?
formula for outfitting the unit? Furnishing the
It
unit?
all depends. It really all depends how much you have to do from the beginning. But let's just say the unit is already there, and when you got to furnish it, it all depends. My sister, I just tell my sister, hey, here's the money. This is how much I want to spend. Go find something this to match this color. And she's very It was like 5,000. Oh, less than five.
That's what he
Less.
was asking,
Oh, less than five. My actual was less than 5,000.
When you consider bed, furnishings,
Yeah.
curtains,
The bed, the mattress is
silverware.
like-
Yep.
The mattress is about most. I know it was a washer and dryer.
Washer and dryer, because that was 15.
14.
That was 1,500.
Well, that's going to be in.
Yeah, but that's in a rental anyway, right? And
Right.
washer and dryers in a lot of rental units
Yeah.
anyway.
So I guess the bed would be probably the main thing, which
Washer and dryer, yeah.
yeah, after that. So I mean, that's like about 300 on Amazon, 400,
Right.
and then you get the frame.
And that was the big thing, is that we budget shopped. So depending on how high end you are, like I said, the bed and the washer dryer, those are brand new. But a lot of things we were like Amazon, we hit somebody's on Facebook Marketplace and say, hey, we're having a moving sale and we're getting rid of all of our blah, blah, blah. We say, we're coming to get that. Hold on and we'll be there, and that will work in our rental. So it really depends on how much you want to spend.
Yeah.
But again, remember, you're not living there.
Right, because actually, like most of that furnishings on our 2-bedroom unit over here, somebody was getting rid of their Airbnb. So we went and bought like all their stuff for like $700, and we bought the beds and stuff. So it's pretty simple. But Philip got probably a lot more.
In my case, I had a lot of furniture for staging for the flips that I end up using in the houses. I never had mattresses, because in flips you use blow-up mattresses. So I had to buy them anyway, and probably the biggest cost is actually the TVs. Especially if it's a 2-1, I put 3 TVs in that two-bedroom, 1-bath. Because I put one in the living room and 1 TV in each bedroom. But other than that, again, I had a lot of furniture from the staging for the flips.
When I did my 2-bed, 1-bath, it cost me $3,500, and I budget shopped. I went to thrift stores for couches, bed frames, and then the rest of the property was sponsored by Walmart.
Hey, Philip, I've got yours up if you want to talk about it. Use the microphone if you would too. Let me give this back to you.
So, let me see, that's a 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom, 900 square feet in Newport News on Old Oyster Point. and it has an ADU in the back. That's a different listing, obviously. When I bought the property, I did the BRRRR method on it, so since it was in good condition at the end, I had obviously the option of either renting it long-term or mid-term. Since Newport News doesn't technically allow short-term rentals legally, I didn't want to go into that. So I could have rented for, again, it's 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom, 900 square feet in Newport News. Maybe I would assume 1,400, I don't know how much long-term. And I'm getting about 2,100 or so on it on mid-term now. And I have the ADU also, and I pay utilities probably $250 a month for everything altogether for both units. So instead of getting 13, 14, I get about 21, and on the other one, on the ADU, I get 1,800, and it's $250 in utilities for both of them. So that's the main house, and there's another listing under my profile. That's the ADU. Again, most of my furniture was from staging, so.
So
Yeah.
I really like your pictures that both of you guys have done. Did you guys do this with professional photographers?
Yes, I did that too, yeah, and I think it's one of the easiest investments and is absolutely necessary.
Right, because these are beautiful pictures.
Yeah.
They are inviting, and I can see where, if I was looking for some place to stay and you showed me this, I'd be like, oh yeah.
Yeah, and if you scroll through, I have photos of the fact that I'm giving them pots and pans and all kind of other stuff, so they know up front, hey, I'm gonna get that and I don't have to worry about it.
It's a fancy fridge, Philip.
Yeah.
Is that one of your TVs?
That's a magnetic.
That's number 4. That's number 4. That's a TV I got in Lowe's as a scratch and dent for $800, and it's close to $4,000 brand new. And just because it's scratch and dent on the side, I paid $800 for it. Yeah, I didn't think in the beginning that I have to take photos of literally glasses and plates and stuff like that, but people ask about it otherwise, so I would rather post it so they don't think twice about it.
And that's a smart fridge, huh?
Yeah.
You can Google it.
Yeah. It has Amazon and Pandora and all kinds of stuff that I don't know if anybody ever uses.
So it also sings.
Yeah, and getting the professional photography is absolutely key because you got to remember who you're renting to as well. These people are not from this area. They're not going to request a tour of the home. They're going to go based off the photos and either hit book or go on to the next listing. So you need to win the click. You need to have great photos on there.
And photos only cost about $165 or whatever.
Yeah.
$150, $160. It's well worth it. Because you get to use them over and over.
Let me know if I'm going too fast, guys.
What size beds do you usually use? One of those look like a king.
One is the king and one is the queen, and that's based on the size of the bedrooms actually.
And in your place, it kind of look like a fold, maybe?
No, it's a queen.
That was queen?
Yes. Now, in case a couple stay there, I don't want to be in a pool with my wife. She wouldn't have anywhere. She wouldn't have nowhere to move.
Two occupants.
Yeah. So yeah. All right.
Nice.
Go back to the exterior.
Okay.
Oh, the exterior shot's okay? There we go. I saw that house before. That house looks great.
Thank you.
You did an awesome job with that.
So if you're gonna scroll, I don't know where you go to see my profile, you're gonna see the other unit in the same at the same address. Probably go back and scroll down somewhere. Whatever is gonna.
Charming 2-bedroom, 1-bath.
I'm saying extended stays in the title, so that way I don't get anybody asking me, hey, can I book it for a week or 2 weeks or whatever, so I don't.
Right.
Yeah, and if you click on my name, I think you're gonna see the other listings. Right under the photo, you see my profile and my name.
Up top.
Right in the middle right now, right there by the photo, yeah.
I got this guy named Ted here
Yeah.
somewhere.
If they call me and they say, hey Ted, I know for a fact it's somebody that's asking about. So I think under the if you click on the photo, you're probably gonna see the other listings, and you can click on the other unit on the ADU.
Went to school 49,000 miles away. 4,900. Okay, here we go.
Ted listings, yeah.
So guest house?
Yeah, that's on at the same address. It's above a detached garage, and this is a 600 square feet unit. And again,
This was, when I saw this was literally a garage attic.
it was a unit before. It was rented for $425 for the last 9 years. Somebody was paying $425, and the landlord, the lady, never been there in 9 years. Never ever.
I like your microwave here. You didn't have room for a full one, so you got the over-the-counter.
I had to cut the, if you like zoom into the photo, like if you open up the photo on the full size, I had to cut from the top cabinet above the microwave, so one of the doors of that cabinet doesn't open. That's the only way to feed it in there. They didn't have a microwave before, and I didn't want to put a countertop one because I would not have an exhaust.
Got your pots.
Yeah.
Got your cooking stuff.
And
Narinda, make
there's
sure-
plenty more actually when they come into the house, but I didn't want to take photos of every single thing. So they pretty much get everything that an Airbnb would get.
And this has got
Mini
split.
split units. Yeah, I have 2 of them in. Although it's 600 square feet, I put 2 just because I didn't want to have anybody complain about, hey, it's not enough with one. It would cover more than 600 square feet just with one, but I put 2 because they are very cheap. It's about $700 for a full unit, and the install is probably, in my case, I paid like $300 to install.
So $1,000 for each
Yeah.
mini split.
For each mini split, and then a window unit would probably be $300 or $400, and I think the mini split is gonna last forever.
Yeah, that's a nice, you did a great job with that bathroom too, by the way.
Thank you. Same laundry. It happened that the house has the laundry with access from the exterior, and I didn't even have to have 2 laundries because again, it's usually one person in each unit, and they don't really use it a lot.
So they're sharing one laundry.
Yeah.
Okay, that's nice.
Has exterior access, so both of them have a key to it, and that's about it. And I have a lot of storage down underneath that unit. I have another 600 square feet. That has a different electric meter, as you can see it. So I didn't have to worry about, hey, I have too much on 2 units or whatever. Because also, when I bought the house, the city of Newport News doesn't recognize ADUs as a legal ADU. They don't, anywhere. Whoever says, oh, this is a legal ADU, they want to say, hey, I'm trying to get you to consider it's grandfathered in, but legally it's not.
Okay.
So that was an issue for a bit when I did the appraiser, but after that it worked out.
And their entrance is here, is that
Yeah,
correct?
on the side, yeah. And
Okay.
then when I talked to the city about it, they say, hey, we know it's there because the lady who was staying there and paying $425, she had a lot of problems with the law. One day she had ambulances and firefighters. She was on drugs a lot. So she would call everybody and say there's somebody that's living underneath in the garage and whatnot. And they knew about it, they knew about the unit, they knew everything in the unit because she was calling the ambulance a lot. And when I told them, hey, do you know about this ADU? They told me it's not legally an ADU, but they know it's there. And they said once we would potentially approve it, they may consider allowing me to have another one downstairs underneath if I want to.
Cool.
So it may become another 1,800 from a structure that's already there.
That's pretty cool, because you've
Yeah.
also, you've
I don't
already
know
got
if
that
that's gonna
door.
happen anytime soon, but that would be a big opportunity to have another
Because
unit
this
downstairs.
looks like a people door right here too,
Yeah,
right?
it used to be probably a full garage and entrance at some point, and then they made it into a regular.
You guys good with the pictures? Anybody got anything you
So
want to
there's
look at?
nothing on the ground floor, it's just.
No, just storage that I use. It's full of storage.
you use that for
It's not just nothing, it's full, yeah.
Philip shop.
Lights. Lights.
Lights. Okay, thank you very much. Shaka, you had something. I'm sorry, you had a question earlier.
Midterm rentals are often compared to short-term rentals. I don't hear them compared to voucher programs, Section 8, HUD-VASH, things of that nature. As far as the numbers, as far as the finishes, as far as really anything. So I'm curious, as far as the panel, have y'all compared the numbers and everything else to voucher programs? Those who don't know, I'm a big proponent of voucher programs, Section 8, HUD-VASH, everybody that is willing to pay a portion of the rent for the tenant and deposit as well.
Yeah, that's not our clientele.
That's not our clientele. You ain't trying to put them in here, plus they can't afford that.
And with Section
Well,
8,
I'm-
with the voucher program, you have to give a 1-year lease initially, so this is a long-term, it has to be a
No,
long-term.
what I'm asking is, have you compared the numbers and the numbers as far as the rents, as far as the
Market
upfront
rent,
costs?
Market rent versus a higher rent, a lot higher rent.
Right.
So I don't need the exact numbers. They don't fit.
Right.
That's long-term rental.
Well, when I hear the numbers, I'm thinking about my properties and they're not that far off. That's why I'm asking.
Long-term rental, that's totally different.
Right.
Yeah, we,
That's what I'm asking, the
I'm
differences.
getting 30 to 100% more than market rent.
Right.
So those are the numbers.
They
Market
would
rent.
deny it with, yeah, so
Yeah.
voucher program, right. it's-
And plus,
it's market.
we're not looking for that kind of, we're not really looking for long-term tenants also. It's a different
Well,
program.
the reason I'm asking is because in my brain, I'm thinking upfront costs as far as furnishing, as far as, not necessarily finishes, because my finishes are pretty similar to what I saw in the pictures. But as far as income is concerned, as far as the monthly rents, they're not far off from, as far as what I heard for, someone said, close
A
to
one-bedroom getting 1,900, that's not.
You're not getting that from Section
a one bedroom getting 1,900. I'm about to get 1,300 for a one bedroom, and I'm not paying utilities. So again, I'm thinking about the differences in the numbers, and that's a ADU. The front unit is getting 1,600. I'm not paying utilities either. So again, I'm thinking about those type of situations. So upfront costs versus me not furnishing. I still have the same type of finishes. I'm here because I'm want to get into midterm rentals, but I'm also thinking about what I currently have and the numbers that I currently get with voucher programs. Especially there's voucher programs that cover deposits, that cover repairs for landlords. A lot of people don't know about those either, where you have repairs, but the program is covering those repairs. We don't hear about those. We don't talk about those, so that's why I'm asking these questions.
Right, and it depends on the city too. So by
Very
city
much
by
so.
city, it's gonna be a different, income level.
I know of a program that's here in Hampton Roads that I bet no one here could tell me the name of it. I have $100 for anybody that can tell me the name of a program that's paying deposits, that's paying rents, 70% at least of the rent, and paying repairs. I give $100 to anybody that tell me the name of that program.
It's a midterm rental. It's a midterm rental.
I'm talking about long term. I'm comparing.
Yeah,
I want
no.
to compare
Right, but that's.
midterm to long term.
There's no agenda though.
Right.
What I'm asking is your numbers are spectacular, but I'm also asking because there are other options. And again, we always compare midterm to Airbnb, to short term. Why can't we compare it to long term voucher programs?
You can
Now,
actually
I have no
compare,
problem
you can actually
comparing it
compare
to
them
short
whatever
term,
you can actually compare them to
but
whatever you choose.
we have more comparisons that we don't talk about. That's my point. There's more comparisons.
But
Right.
we did have a whole panel,
Right.
we did have a day that we talked about voucher in Section 8. We had
Yeah,
a whole session on that.
and
We
I,
brought up
brought people in
Airbnb
for
here
that.
tonight.
No, we
brought up
did.
Airbnb a lot tonight.
we do, yeah.
Because
We
that's
didn't
what
bring up what
tonight
I
is
just
for.
brought up.
No, and
But that's
my
what
point
this
is,
panel's
and I think what their point is
Kelly,
that
I love
we
y'all.
can.
I'm not coming at y'all.
No,
I know you're
we,
not. I have
what we
some
need to do
questions.
is have you
I
come
have
give us a night on how you're getting your numbers that close
Right.
to what he's got, because I'm not getting those numbers with my Section 8. And if you're telling me that there's another program out there, let's you not talk afterwards and see if you can't come,
I'm not
you know,
calling
enlighten
y'all.
us.
I'm
No,
just comparing
we got it. We got it. We're not worried. We're all good. Who else, what else we got on the midterm side? Anybody got something? Yes, let me come down here and then you can, because not only does it make it easier for people down there to hear, but we're recording this too.
Okay,
So,
I'm kind of cold.
no, we're good.
You talked about having, I think you said rooms for rent. Are you also getting those people from Furnish Finders?
No, I'm not.
Okay.
If I advertise room for rent, it will be on a room finder.
Okay.
Haven't done that in a minute. I've been kind of lucky just knowing people within the family that need rooms for rent. So I am kind of getting off easy on that one.
And do you have those people under a lease, or you don't month to month?
I will go month to month, depending, but if they're going to be there for longer than a year, I will put them on a lease. But if they're only going to be in the area, like for example, my brother's getting out of the Marine Corps. He's probably going to be here for 4 months on their transition program. Forgot what it's called. I'm not going to put him on a lease. He's still going to pay rent in the state of Virginia. You can do a verbal lease in less than a year. I feel like I can trust him. That's my personal decision. But I'm going to put him on a lease if I have no clue who they are and I'm running a background check. Yeah.
Hold on one second.
Here we go, coming your way. And then we got one more right back over here. Sorry, go.
I'm curious about if someone were to build an addition in the city of Hampton, where would you go to see if that can be like an ADU for this type of purpose? Or do we just already know that it's probably not going to happen?
You would call any zoning officer for the city. So I don't know if legally they allow ADU, but you can ask them. Just call the zoning officer, like the zoning office of City of Hampton, and you ask them, hey, I have this address, I'm considering doing it. They don't care about it, they just gonna answer in a second. It doesn't mean that if you give them your address exactly, they will say, no, they don't care about it. They will just answer and that's it.
I built one in Yorktown. Every city's different, but I'll tell you, in York County, I had to have a reason to build that unit, and that reason happened to be an older family member. I'm going to bring my mother-in-law in. She's going to come live with us. It's going to be her little apartment. They let me do that. I had to sign a bunch of papers saying I was never going to rent it out, and a bunch of crazy stuff like that. But it can be done. They generally don't say, hey, yeah, why don't you just go build another apartment on the back of your house, unless you're in an area zoned for that. But if you're in a single family area zone, they don't want to turn the single family house into a multifamily house, into an apartment complex. So then they generally have questions of, is it truly family?
Not to push the TRIG meeting next week, but the appraiser, when I heard her presentation before, she focused on that. Every city's different. Some of them are ADU friendly, and the landscape is changing. So I would recommend, and some of these other issues that you've asked about were also like valuation for midterm and short-term rentals. That was also part of her presentation. So if you've got questions like this and you were thinking about coming to TRIG next week, it's not just did it appraise for enough, but she absolutely covered these kinds of questions.
All right, we got one more over here. And so get your last few questions ready because we're running out of time.
Okay, so this is just like a quick share, just because I'm actually building one of these right now. I've got walls going up and kitchens going in and furnishings and all that stuff. And so either A, you guys are going to tell me, Chelsea, you made the worst decision ever, or I found something like really great, affordable, and maybe you guys, it could help someone else. I'm actually deciding to go with Home Emporium to use their cabinet line. It's unfinished maple cabinets. I got 7 pretty large, decent, really good cabinets that are not press board. They're plywood and full maple for $1,200, 7 cabinets. That's really, I think that's really good. Way better than the $5,000 Lowe's tried to charge for half the space before I decided to knock some walls down. They also had like a really nice TV stand, a desk. They were 99 bucks each. They had queen size bed frames for 179. They had really nice large textile area rugs for like 100 bucks. They also had really good dining sets for like the 400 to 600 range that like looked good. Like they would photograph really well. So either like I made a big mistake or I have a decent eye and hopefully it works out. And hopefully I'll have something to like report out. Maybe I'll post it on the thing, my cost structure and all the good finds I had and photos. I love the design stuff. So if you ever need some like tips and tricks, like I said, I was an Airbnb super host and love the design piece the most. So just a little share for y'all.
Where was it? You said that's Home Emporium? Where's
Home
that?
Emporium in Chesapeake, and then they also have in the next parking lot over a Denton Ding. So I got like a specialty like $900 18-inch dishwasher to mix with my cabinet options, because it was a creative space like yours, and really great deals. So I'm excited to see what my total cost is for this. But yeah, so I am literally in the middle of it. So hopefully the next month or two I'll have a little short-term rental in my daylight basement.
Good deal. All right, anybody got anything? What's up, Sean?
The topic of insurance came up earlier, renter's insurance. I'm not clear exactly if there's a fire. My banker called me today, said, I have a young lady looking for a rental, so I called you. She had a fire in her apartment and she's living in a hotel coming out of pocket. I asked her, well, did the young lady have insurance, renter's insurance? She did not. So my question is for midterm rentals, because I'm not clear again, I'm not clear. If renter's insurance is not required and there's a fire, who is responsible? Because we all know that our insurance companies will cover specific things, but what about the tenants? If they cause the fire and your insurance company is saying that we're not going to cover it, then how does that work?
Well, if Airbnb is covered. If it's another platform, go ahead, Philip.
I know that y'all touched on this earlier. I didn't hear.
Yeah, if you're coming through Airbnb is going to cover that with that $1 million policy. If you're coming through another platform, well, you're not covered, so it's going to come out of your homeowner's insurance. So, yeah, their stuff, they're not bringing that much stuff. Plus, if they caused it, oh well.
And
I mean-
in normal rental properties, I ask them to have it, but I don't check it probably like I should. And I tell everybody when I'm going through my lease, it's good for you to have this because if something happens to the house and it burns down, my stuff is covered, yours isn't. You need to buy this for your own insurance. Now, if it's caused by the tenant and they don't have the insurance, I would assume that my insurance will cover my damages. I don't think that matters who caused it, as long as I didn't cause it.
Right, that's why you have that higher renter's insurance.
Right.
Liability and
There you go.
Liability and personal something. It definitely
Right.
matters. It definitely matters.
Right,
That's why
okay.
a lot of landlords will have their self or their LLC included to their rental policy as additional insured
Right.
to make sure that they're maintaining that policy. And if they cancel that policy, they will mail the landlord and say, this policy has been canceled because you're additionally insured. But
Correct. Yeah.
again, that does matter.
I don't track mine, probably like I should. And you got another question?
Yes.
You go ahead.
Okay, so
Unless you guys got some, I'm sorry.
No.
Okay.
last question for you. So do you guys own these in your personal name, an LLC, a trust? How do you guys have these set up?
One of mine is in an LLC. The other one's in my personal name.
All my rentals are in LLCs, and I'm probably gonna move them in revocable living trust at some point, but I don't think I'm big enough to worry about that at this point.
In a trust.
Okay, good to hear.
Yeah, the good one about a trust is, the reason I like a trust is because when something happens to me, it just goes immediately to whoever I say it's going to. They don't have to fight it over. I don't think a trust protects me any more than an LLC does. It just makes, it's going to make it easier on my wife and my kids.
Right.
Is what a trust makes it easier on my wife and kids. And then the trust can also make it easier to transfer to somebody else, I believe, because you can transfer ownership of the trust without actually changing the ownership of the house.
You can also make it so the trust owns, the LLCs are in the trust.
You can,
So
yes,
you can have, I have stuff that's in in the trust, in my personal name, and then I have
right.
units that are under the LLC, but that's all in
Right.
the trust as well.
And you can, I'm not going to say, I'm not saying this to be any sort of pejorative, but you can make it as hard as you want it to be. And generally you make it harder when you have a lot of stuff. If you got one or two, keep it as simple. When you're starting out, keep it simple. I know people that are talking about, I need to set up I need to set up an LLC. I need to set up this. I need to set up that. Well, what do you own? Well, right now I'm $1 billion in debt. Okay, what are you trying to protect? I'm trying to protect my debt. Okay, so don't make it so confusing that your taxes are more expensive, that your lawyer bills are more expensive, and everything is more expensive if you're in the beginning of you're at the very beginning of your real estate investing career and you own a lot of debt. There's no reason to make it hard and confusing. Now, when all 30 years from now, when your debt is paid down and you started having a lot of equity, then you need to start thinking about this and that and having LLCs and protecting the assets that you have. And a lot of times people are doing the trusts or owning LLCs or owning this or owning that is because they're really trying to get themselves away from it. So when their tenants are looking to see who owns the house, you can't find out who owns it very easy. So, you bypass probate with a trust. That's the biggest thing with a trust is you bypass. That's why I said it's for my wife and my kids. That's what the trust is for.
If you pass away and you have a will or no trust, then it goes to the state. With a trust, it goes to whoever the trust beneficiary or whatnot is. If your family doesn't know about real estate and they don't know about trust or any of this stuff, they have to deal with the attorney, which costs money, and it takes time and months, and that costs. So that's why the trust is more beneficial.
Right. It's real simple. A trust is,
Straight to the point.
it goes right to whoever has it. Okay, one last question. Yes, ma'am. Hang on one second. Let's get this to you so that we can all hear it.
A question from the beginner who are just getting started and looking for, what would be your suggestion for the perfect situation? Is it, for example, you said 2-bedroom, 1 bath, and if it's attached garage or detached garage, can it be converted into the ADU? And how do you know will it be permitted to be converted or will not? How do I do this homework, or how do I research that?
You're going to want to find out what the zoning designation is for your parcel. You're going to go to the city Municode, you're going to look it up, and you're going to see there's a section in most of the cities around here called accessory uses. Mm-hmm. Go in there and it will literally tell you line by line, this zoning designation allows it, this one does not, this one does, but with this exception. So it's hard to give a blanket answer to that, but if you look parcel by parcel and work your way back and see what the city says, that'll give you your straight answer if you're worried about permitting.
So there are certain zoning designations that allow you to convert this garage, or some that does not allow?
It depends on the city. So each city is different, and just because your parcel here say for example is designated R9 and it allows ADUs, but then you're looking at the property next door, it could be designated R11 and not allow ADUs. So you're going to want to make sure you work very closely with your agent to find out what zoning code applies to that parcel, work your way back and check the MUNA code with your city.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Even in the same city next door?
Even in the same city next door, yes. Yes, it can change. Yep.
Yeah, so you go online on, let's say, James City County Property Information website, and they have a map with zonings. So they're literally gonna show you the whole map of the county with zonings. And each zoning is gonna have a table that's gonna say ADU, permitted or not. So permitted, it means you have to go and apply for it, get it approved, and then follow all the steps. Not permitted, you don't even have to try it because it's not allowed, yeah. And most of the time it's gonna be way more expensive to do it from scratch than to buy one that's already done, pretty much, and rehab it or something like that. If you have to permit an ADU, it's gonna take, from the moment you start till you build it up and you put it in use, it's probably gonna be close to a year.
And also on that same table, you'll see a couple of different codes. Like if you see P, it usually means permitted for most cities. If you see UP, that means use permit, which means you've got to make an application to the city. It's going to go before a review. Some cities may even mail stuff to your neighbors, and then there can also be just a straight X, which nope, good luck. You're not going to get it. So
You said it was UP?
you want a CP, yes, in most cities, or by right. Did you hear?
They're gonna explain in the table, they're gonna say what the terms mean, if it's P or if it's UP or
Yeah,
whatnot.
look
they're
for the
gonna
legend.
explain all the terms, yeah.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, because every city is going to be different,
Yep.
and every part of the city within the city is going to be different. Because you'll notice you don't drive down a street and see single family house, single family house, single family house, apartment complex, single family house, single family house. I mean, there are places in the city you see that, but generally, go back into the neighborhoods and you won't see that. They kind of keep the neighborhoods looking similar. And they do that with their, in the zoning department. So the big one is if you have a place and you're thinking about making an ADU, the first place you go is the zoning office. And even if they tell you no, you'll certainly learn a lot about what that city thinks about ADUs and the way they're handling them. And again, Yorktown, it was a no, but I had a reason that they would buy off on. And I think most of the places, most anywhere, will have that same caveat. If you have a family member moving in, they will probably do that for you because they're not gonna tell you can't take care of your family. But they will tell you we're not gonna allow you to build a little apartment so that you can bring a bunch of college kids in to live above your garage.
And everything you're
Or
saying
make it a
is
short-term rental.
What you're saying is based on you living in the main house.
Correct.
But as an investment, if you buy it in an LLC and you say, I want to add an ADU,
That's gonna be a no.
that's
90%
probably
of
gonna
the
be a
time,
no,
probably.
yeah.
Yes.
Unless you find it in a zoning that allows ADU upfront, which, like I said, City of Newport News
Correct.
doesn't.
Now, because I signed a document that said I was not going to turn this into a rental. Now, I believe that technically, as long as I'm living in the house, I can use it as a room rental. I can rent it out as a room. I can do a short-term rental, but I cannot move out of the house and then rent one house and rent the other as two separate houses. That would be illegal for me in my position.
What about the next owner?
I think the next owner, as long as they live in the main house, they can probably rent the other one. But I believe that the city will give them a hard time if they try to turn it into two addresses. That's my interpretation.
Well, an ADU, though, by definition, isn't just a room. It's got to have appliances and
Yes.
functional and a way to shut it off entirely from the main house.
Right. It's got to be its own apartment. Yeah, livable. Okay, one last comment, and then we're going to get to networking. So don't everybody run off. I'm going to stick around and put all my stuff away, and I'm going to stick around and get me some ice cream afterwards. So don't tell anybody.
Just a plug, there is one in Hampton that's 2 separate units right now for sale. It's like $340. They're already furnished as Airbnb, so if you're interested, just let me know. You can find me on Facebook. I'm Kim. I'm in the Priya group. Are you in the group?
That's Kim. All right, so who's not a member of the Facebook group?
You missed that.
There you go. All right, so they're on the back of the papers there if you want to join. Nice job. Hope we got that on camera. Okay, stick around. We're going to network some. Thanks for coming, guys. And thanks to the panel.